In this episode of Moi TV, we're talking about how you can build your personal brand by using mood boards. Using mood boards is a great way to solidify any concept in life, really, but that means it works just as well when it comes to figuring out your personal brand. By the end of this episode, you're going to have some really simple mood boarding techniques that you can go off and use for yourself. Let's go. Now, from a lot of years of experience, trust me when I tell you that having really well thought out visual prompts is truly the best way to debrief any creative supplier that you want to work with in your business. It is incredibly efficient compared to you garbling on and rambling about the way that you want something to look or feel. Also, there is a real joy with mood boarding in particular because you are physically putting different ideas next to each other to see how they fit together. You can quite literally experiment with different ideas before you set anything in stone. The obvious choice for gathering ideas and inspiration online is, of course, Pinterest. By creating a board and inviting others to work on it, you are creating a collaborative virtual space where you can together collect different ideas and concepts. If you're really struggling with developing the storylines of your 5 personal brand themes, which you will have seen on this episode on Moi TV, then why not go ahead and just create 5 secret Pinterest boards, title them with each of your themes, and start looking around and seeing if you can find some new ideas and inspiration to help you round out the storylines that you're using on your social media, which we actually spoke about on this episode, and you're going to be able to come up with much better personal branded themes. Quick question for you. Have you got a working brand guidelines document? If the answer to that question is no, I really want to know why in the comments below. If you're a little bit scared or you don't want the rest of the world seeing your honest answer, you can just DM me on Instagram and I promise I won't tell anyone. And if you're struggling on getting started with Pinterest, why don't you take a look at my account? There's a link to that up here now. Please go ahead, take anything you want from my account and repin it to the boards that you have on your account. It's fine, I don't mind sharing. Designing it on Photoshop. So when I'm working on a mood board for a client, specifically to do with preparations for a photo shoot, for instance, I'm going to pull everything out from Pinterest. It's usually a secret board that me and my team, as well as the client, have been collaborating on. And then I'm going to put it together in a collage way, and I'm going to use Photoshop to do that. The art of collage itself is quite a literal way of mashing ideas together by layering them on top of each other. And for me, I really love the way that looking at a collage makes your eyes dance around the page in an unpredicted way. It's a great way to gather a sense of a mood or a sense of the emotion that we want to evoke in a photo shoot, for instance, without being very rigid in the way that you do it. You're giving people a permission to play around with the ideas and form the idea you want them to in their brain, in their way. Of course, you don't have to be fully au fait with working with Photoshop. Photoshop is just my happy place because of my photography. You could even just print everything out from Pinterest, cut it all up and layer it together and get a Pritt stick and stick it all out on a board. That is a really fun way to mood board as well. A quick shout out then to Moodzer. So a few years ago, a makeup artist I was working with showed me this, and this is how she put together different mood boards without having to know all that techie Photoshop stuff. You're going to get a much more clean and crisp look to the way that your mood boards work because of the way that the software works, but it's a great way to elevate things up. And if you haven't got time to sit with the scissors and the Pritt stick, you might want to go for this option. Canva. I have raved about Canva before on the show and I still love them very much. I think that the premium version of their subscription is worth every single penny. It's a huge time saver for me. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I love having vision boards in my life, and I make sure that my desktop wallpaper on my laptop is always a vision board of what I'm looking to achieve right now in my life. For some reason, I don't create that in Photoshop. I can't explain why. Instead, I always create it in Canva. So if you're looking to put together a professional looking mood board and the idea of using any new software freaks you out, but you already use Canva, you should definitely try it out there. Now, reviewing how you're conceptualizing your personal brand right now into mood boards is probably an annual activity. For me, it's something that I like to take a little review over and play around with over the Christmas holidays. Once I've decided I'm done with the mood boards, I will flatten them or save them as a flattened JPEG file, and then we put them into my working brand guidelines document so that if we're hiring any creative suppliers for the following year, they will get the up-to-date versions of the way that we're trying to curate the personal brand in my business. I've been your host, Laura Pearman. It has been a gas having a chat with you today. This was the last episode of Moi TV in this season, and we are now taking a break for the winter. Don't worry though, we're going to be back again in the new year. If you've enjoyed learning about personal brand inspiration with me today, then why don't you go and take a look at these episodes up next. Mwah. Now before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe. Mwah.